Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is December 24th, 2022, Christmas Eve. Ho, ho, ho. I didn't really have a better intro here, but hopefully this episode finds you well. Hopefully, I'm giving you the gift of edutainment and podcasting. Yay, yummy. Before we get into the news, we can talk about me a little bit. Not too much to report though in between episodes. Let's see. I didn't work. Yeah, we already discussed that. So we're now on Christmas break, if you will. I'm probably not working yet till Tuesday, so that's fun. I tried the roads out today. I was like, okay, let's try to get gas. Let's see what the streets look like. And for here in Cincinnati, not too good right now. They're still working on it. At least you can see a little bit of the lanes. You can get some traction on the road for the most part. But didn't feel too good about it. And it was weird because my side streets were better than the main streets, and that was a little bit blah. But I got some McDonald's, so that's probably the food corner for the day. I got a McDonald's breakfast, hotcakes, a bacon and cheese biscuit, which for some reason is so hard for some people to ring up. And I always feel bad, but I'm always also annoyed because I'm just like, why is it so difficult? And sometimes I get that it doesn't roll off the tongue. Like people just go, oh, okay, yeah, bacon and cheese biscuit. And it's like, no, or they go bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit. It's like, no, or they think I meant that. And I'm like, no, it's not what I meant. So, I get that I get tongue tied over it and all that, but that's always an issue. So, then what else do I get? I get a sausage McMuffin. So I keep it pretty cheap. I try to. And a hash brown and a large Coke. Okay, so that's all about like $10 or whatever, but it's not too bad. So I ate that and skedaddled my way on home. And I think I'm more or less in for the day. I'm hoping the streets are better because I got a Christmas dinner to go to tomorrow. But I still should be able to see you guys for a Christmas episode. Yeah. Not that it'll be too jazzy or anything like that, but at least you can hang out while I'm telling you some news, a little bit of extras. But speaking of the news, we can get into it. Well, let's start off with an article I got from the Associated Press. 3 dead in Kurdish center shooting in Paris. Suspect arrested. Now, in this article, they don't list the name of the suspect, but he is a 69-year-old Paris man. He had been jailed previously, like this was earlier this month, for attacking migrants living in tents. I believe in that incident, he had a saber and he was like slashing at tents, yelling at people. And it was like a very, racially motivated situation. It's seemingly that what took place at this Kurdish Cultural Center on Friday was similar. He had, I believe, a pistol, and he shot, I think, a total of 6 people. 3 were killed, 3 were wounded. Of those wounded, I believe one was serious condition, the other 2 were not. Now, in terms of like, is this a focused Curtis incident? I think that that's being investigated right now, but it has gotten a reaction. People have kind of taken to the streets, and there's been Kurdish, people in the Kurdish community have called it a terrorist act. Also, there has been uproar against the Turkish government from people in the Kurdish community in Paris. More or less just talking about the situations going on there, violence going on in Turkey, oppression of their people, stuff like that. So I mean, all in all, it means definitely a really scary thing to happen. Really sad situation. People were just out and about, and then this just literally just takes place. Someone who didn't reveal their identity or anything said like the guy they witnessed it. Said the guy was like really calm. He suffered a head injury but was apprehended alive. So yeah, I mean, just a really sad scene. My condolences go to the families involved, people involved. Let's see, is there anything else I wanted to cover here? No, there are more details, but didn't want to get too weeded in there. If there is any updates, though, I'll definitely try to round back and cover it. Let's see, another from the Associated Press. German court convicts 97-year-old ex-secretary at Nazi camp. Nazi. Ooh, why can I not say Nazi? At Nazi camp. Let's see. Irmgard Furniture. We tried. She was accused of being part of the apparatus that helped the camp function. This was a Nazi Struthof concentration camp. And she was a secretary at this camp. And I mean, I think people can look at this in several ways. I know we did just recently, literally last episode covered Harvey Weinstein. In his situation, he's an old man. People could be like, well, wow, you're really gonna really put this old man under the jail, da 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 da. And I'm like, yes, in that situation, totally. And in this situation, I also understand someone, or people being like, yo, yeah, put this person, maximize their whole sentence, especially in a situation where, she was trying to initially evade capture. And they did wind up catching her, and, she wound up having to face trial. Now, she was given a 2-year suspended sentence. This was handed down by the Etzehoe State Court in northern Germany. Let's see. She was alleged to have aided and abetted those in charge of the camp in the systematic killing of those imprisoned there between June 1943 and April 1945, in her function as a stenographer and typist in the camp commandant's office. Let's see. But I mean, with a, suspended sentence, essentially, it's just she's convicted and just like the whole title and process. Like, it's of record that she was a part of this, that she did do this, and she was found guilty. She's not going to serve any time. She's just going to, spend the rest of her life outside of jail, which I personally think is okay. I know that, sentences can be very, rough. I mean, granted, we're talking European prisons. It's a little different. We're talking like Germany or something. But, I don't know. I can also understand if someone was like, nah, like this is what they did still was an issue. Also, I believe that they charged her under, and this is something to kind of put into thought, that they charged her as a minor. And it's like, what do you mean? She's 97 years old. Well, she was a minor at the time of the incident. And so that's where they took it back to charge her. So I think that was something that they also factored in as well. So, I get both perspectives on that. I think where I land is like, I think this is just, I don't think there's really a big need to throw the book at this person. They did, let's see, in her closing statement, Furniture, I'm going to go with Furniture, said she was sorry for what had happened and regretted that she had been at Struthof at the time. It goes on to say, yes, she was tried in juvenile court because she was under 21 at the time of the alleged crimes. So yeah, I just wanted to, kind of bring that up, in a situation where, we're looking at the times, people really want to play down the atrocities that took place, during the World War, during the Holocaust. They want to deny that the shit even happened in some situations. I think that the best thing that this does is say, hey, this definitely brings a light of it, because this is probably one of the last times that you're going to have a case like this. So, it's once again bringing it up and putting a spotlight on it and saying, hey, like, this isn't something that's okay. This was always messed up, and we are going through the hassle of trying this person. And I don't know. I think that is good to do, and I am happy to cover it. Even though obviously it was a sad, fucked up situation. And I hope we don't repeat it as people, even though, we find creative ways to make atrocities. Right. In other news, from CNN, first on CNN, 2 Americans held by the Taliban have been released, sources tell CNN. So for this one and the next one is actually going to be Afghanistan Taliban related. We can say this is the good news portion, and then we'll get into the bad news. Two Americans who had been detained by the Taliban in Afghanistan have been released and are en route to Qatar. Three sources familiar with the matter tell CNN. Two of the sources tell CNN one of its Americans is filmmaker Ivor Shearer, who was arrested along with his Afghan producer Faizola Faizbakish in August this year while filming in Kabul, according to the Committee to Protect Journalists. He was filming where a U.S. drone had killed Al Qaeda leader Ayman al Zawahiri. Let's see. CNN is withholding the name of the second American at the request of the family at this time. The status of Faiz Bakish was not immediately clear. So, this is definitely good news. There wasn't much in terms of like why they did this. Like there wasn't much elaboration on that. I don't know if there was, something that they've been given or if this was just a good faith thing that the Taliban are doing maybe to potentially help with aid and things of that nature. Though, we can say in the next article, it's kind of counterintuitive maybe. Maybe they're doing some balancing. I'm not sure. But this was, something that, was good news that kind of came up that I wanted to highlight. Let's see here. They go into more details and talking about some other stuff that took place with like Mark Farish, which was like a prisoner swap that took place in September. I don't really want to dwell on this one too much. Honestly, the next one is definitely bigger to me. So let's see here. Also from the Associated Press, we're going back there. Taliban ban women from working for domestic foreign NGOs, which are non-government organizations. Let's see. The Taliban government on Saturday ordered all foreign and domestic non-government groups in Afghanistan to suspend employing women allegedly because some female employees don't wear the Islamic headscarf correctly. They also separately banned women from attending religious classes at the mosque in the capital of Kabul. Now, this is like a second wave of actions that have taken place this week. The Taliban also, at the top of the week, banned women from going to universities. So essentially, if you're at the end of your high school career, you're done. Like after this week, they're like, you can't go to university. Another sad thing that is, response to this, if you're at the end of your university, career, you're about to take your exams, which this is the week that people are going to be doing it. It doesn't matter. Your whole time at the university is just done. You can't go back to school to do your classes, and you're not getting your degree. So this was done very intentionally by the Taliban, and it's definitely caused a big uproar. Women have been protesting in the country, as well as some men, not as many, but some. Also, some men in university have also in solidarity not shown up to their classes in protest, which is, a big deal. Obviously, these are jobs that you need. The financial situation in Afghanistan is very bad. In Kabul, like this is a job that this is an opportunity that you've been working very hard for, and to just say, hey, I'm going to give this up in solidarity is a big deal. With that being said, you're a woman and you just don't have the choice. It's just been taken from you, and you've worked your whole life for this, and this means everything to you, potentially even your family. So it really is a big shame. It's really sad to see this. Obviously, this goes against what I think, people were hoping for, especially when we did do the, what's the word I'm looking for? Not deployment, the opposite of that. When we left Afghanistan, I want to say retreat, but that's not the word I wanted to use. But essentially, when we left Afghanistan, I think we were really hoping that, hey, things are definitely going to change for the country, but hopefully, women will be able to do this and that, at least have some level of rights. Obviously, the international community has really, stood up and said something, saying, hey, we are not okay with this. I think a bigger gesture is other Middle Eastern countries, stepping up, saying, hey, this is really out of line. Countries like Saudi Arabia, stepping up and saying, like, no, like, this is not okay. Like, women should be able to at least be able to go to school, be able to work. And the working thing was definitely new. I initially started my research on this just looking up the university thing that took place, and then this article came up, and I was like, damn, like, it's even further. And I mean, you see it though, just kind of like in the Iranian situation, the headscarf being a big reason why. They also go on to say that it's all about the mingling of genders, and they really want to try to make that different. They also say that if you are a woman, you can go to a mosque if it's a standalone mosque. But once again, you're just making it harder for women to even practice their faith. And you're making it harder for them to have an education. You're making it harder for them to live and be people and have rights equal to their others. It just shouldn't be like that. It's not okay. I mean, that kind of goes without saying, duh. But I do find that it's this struggle, because we obviously talk about these issues, they're very bad, but then we talk about, hey, what do you do about the aid portion? And it's like, well, there's almost a strategy that takes place. Well, we should withhold aid from them, and that will hopefully make change. But if they, if the government there, if the religious leaders there just shrug that off and say, okay, well, we'll wait you out, and that'll be on you. That's a problem, right? Like, that's that's an issue. So I don't know. Obviously, here at Isaiah's Newsstand, I'm just a podcaster. I don't have the answers. I'm just here to give you the news, and I hope that sometimes it's good. But yeah, this is definitely something I'm pondering, something I think about. But definitely wanted to give some coverage on the situation in Afghanistan this week, because it has been making the rounds. Let's see. I got one more story for y'all. And then I will let you go for the day, and hopefully you can celebrate your Christmas Eve, or, whatever you're doing when you listen to this. I'll let you get back to it. But you know me, I gotta take my break. I gotta treat myself, give myself a gift. I gotta open it up, see what's in the box. Ooh, oh, nice. Okay. Oh. Oh, wow. And what's in the stocking stuffer? Ooh, nice. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Okay. All right. Personally, guys, when I used to do Christmas gifts and stuff in my family, the house was very, let's open gifts Christmas Eve night. Like, that was usually a vibe. I think we kind of broke it up into like a weird kind of thirds, where like maybe I might get a teaser gift Christmas Eve if I was like a fiend for it. We'd open some of the gifts on Christmas Eve night. Like, maybe we wait really late, or like even do midnight. And then the rest of the gifts we'd open on Christmas, which was nice. It felt really good. Gosh. So this is Christmas. But, oh man, there's the burps. Definitely, listeners, newsies, if you'd like to tell me your Christmas routines, Christmas foods and meals, feel free to sound off. I don't know, if you're listening on the YouTube, you can do it in the comments. If you are doing this on another platform, feel free to, I don't know, email me or whatever. I do at, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com, plugging that early. You can send me that little, what's your itinerary, your Christmas agenda, if you will. But yeah, let's get into some, the last bit of the news. I don't know, I'm trying to reset this whole episode. I got this from NBC News. Jury finds Tory Lanez guilty in the shooting of Megan Thee Stallion. Megan Thee Stallion accused Lanez of shooting her in the foot during an argument after the pair left a party at Kylie Jenner's home in July 2020. Man, this is kind of the beginning of the end of of a chapter of a long, long engagement. I think a lot of people would say it's gone on for a very long time, too long, just because I don't know. And this is my view on it. I mean, obviously, duh, but I do think this was a cut and dry thing from the beginning, and I think people have hinged on certain details to kind of make it a different thing and make their perspective make sense for them. Um, but let's see. I'm kind of going to do a little bit of paraphrasing here, maybe get into the article as we can. But essentially, 2020, they were, leaving a party, and essentially, I guess they got into an altercation. She gets out of the car with a friend. They are walking away. Tory Lanez, he pops out of the car. I don't think he actually gets out of the car, but, essentially is yelling shit at her, popping off, but then he literally pops off and, shoots at her and literally winds up shooting her in the foot, I believe, like in the heel. Now, I think, it's a chaotic situation. They get back in the car. They are now driving, I think, to go get her some help. And she's then pulled over. They are pulled over by the cops. And, essentially the cop is saying, what's going on? What's happened here? And this is a big point here, because this is where a lot of the people who don't believe, Megan Thee Stallion in the long run, they go, well, she says, I, hurt my foot on broken glass. That's what happened. Essentially they're just trying to get to a hospital. That's the problem. That's the scenario. Now, they get to the hospital. They work on her. There's later a picture that is revealed that, Megan Thee Stallion reveals from the hospital that shows there are bullet fragments in her foot that they have to take out. And, essentially, when she's on the stand testifying, she's, elaborates on the situation that had happened. She's like, the reason I did not tell the cop that I had gotten shot is because I am a black woman in a car with a black man. We are, famous black people, whatever, that's neither here nor there, period, though we are black people. And I don't want to get caught up in a situation where there's a potential shootout because a man shot me in the fucking foot and I need to get to the hospital. I'm not trying to make this worse. Like, obviously I'm paraphrasing here, but I as a black person, I understand that. There is a huge fear in involving the cops in anything that is going on. And it's like, well, they're there to protect and serve. Yeah, that is what they say on their fucking badges and their fucking cop cars. But when they're actually in practice and they look at you, they think a whole other fucking thing. They automatically look at you as like you're a fucking criminal and they don't give a shit about you. And they're just here to fucking protect themselves and serve some fucking justice. So I understand that narrative completely, fully. You're arguing a situation where you're having to literally ride in the car with a motherfucker who shot you. Like, this isn't what you want, okay? And so you're now in a situation where you're now trying to get justice. And she's even gone as far as to say that, like, she wishes that he killed her because of the aftermath of all this. People just, like, literally slandering her viciously. It's one of those things where I even covered in my Patreon with Drake, doing these little fucking side disses and shit. I go on the internet and I see, like, that this is a very common thing. It's not just men. I mean, it's definitely a lot of men, for some reason, who are, like, avid Tory Lanez defenders. And I gotta love with y'all. This is me, once again, showing my bias, sprinkling that in. I've listened to Tory Lanez. I'm not fucking impressed. Never fucking have been. He's a little short guy, little guy. And I mean, honestly, most rappers are. Average height of most rappers is under 5'5". This man is definitely helping the statistic. Let me just say that. But I do think this is a situation where you're a man who you're really drunk. You're in a moment. You are not trying to get talked to in any kind of way, especially if it's negative. And You have, something to prove, and guess what? You have a firearm, and next thing you know, you're using it in this fucking argument, and now you've hurt someone. You know what I mean? Um, so I mean, yeah, getting to the article, he was originally charged with assault with a semi-automatic firearm and carrying a loaded, unregistered firearm in a vehicle. Uh, Also, another thing too, she said in a moment, like she didn't want to see a black man, done up. That is another thing that if you are a couple who, you're both people of color or whatever, you have a person of color in your relationship, that is something you think about. And once again, people go, "Oh, well, what about doing the right thing? What about justice? You gotta think about that first." It's like, dude, fuck that. People who say that shit have never been in anything that they can actually empathize with. They just don't have the depth to be able to grasp the real situation at hand, or they don't care and they just want to make their silly little point on the internet. I love that. Okay, let me start. Let me get back to it. Um, let's see. Carrying a loaded, unregistered firearm in a vehicle. Prosecutors added a third charge, discharging a firearm with gross negligence, earlier this month. Lanez faces a maximum sentence of 22 years and 8 months in prison. He may also face deportation to his home country of Canada after serving his sentence, which I did not know this nigga was from Canada. G'day, mate. Hey. Yeah, that was something I learned reading this article. Also, to be honest, too, I really wasn't too glued to it. I definitely like, Megan Thee Stallion. I'd be listening to the singles and shit. I gotta tell you, also, I'm not a big Lanez fan because I wasn't that interested in his music to begin with. But then hearing the story in 2020, like I said, this has been 2 years of time. I literally was like, damn, I thought this shit was already settled and done. Apparently, though, I didn't know this, but he had offered her $1 million to kind of just be quiet on the shit, not come up. A big thing though that happened in this trial, and I feel like in the public opinion aspect of this, was that Megan Thee Stallion, who was a victim, was almost put along like in trial as if it was like Tory Lanez versus Megan Thee Stallion. That should never be the case. Like that was not the situation at hand. This is always, Tory Lanez more or less versus like the state, and the victim is making a statement. Um, it's definitely weird the discourse of the people who are like pro Tory Lanez, justice for Lanez. I don't fucking know. I'm standing with with Tory. I heard a statement. They said, "Yeah, you standing next to the cell, my boy." I don't know. It's a crazy situation. There's a lot of guts to the story in terms of the trial. Um, what is it? Megan Thee Stallion's friend, I believe, was there. She had given one testimony in terms of like her actual testimony, but then there was recorded like an interview, I think, with a cop, which was like a contrary thing. So that was like a big deal that came up in the situation. Um, like I said, Megan Thee Stallion herself actually testified. Tory Lanez didn't, which I think was definitely the smartest thing he could have done. His ass tried to bring his fucking kid alongside to the trial, which I thought was really gross. Um, what else did I want to really cover here? There's more. I mean, there's definitely more. You could say he had a whole fucking album that he tried to put up to like, kind of do as like a press thing, which I think is kind of gross. Megan Thee Stallion though herself, she put up a single, shots fired, talking about it. Um, Excuse me. So I mean, this is just big in hip hop in terms of just making the rounds. Obviously, now that it's kind of hit a legal crescendo, I kind of wanted to get in and kind of do a little summary for ya. And that's pretty much all I have. So thank you for kicking it with me this Christmas, at least this Christmas Eve for me. Hopefully you've enjoyed the episode, the content. If you would like to become a newsie, give me the gift of some money. I'd really appreciate it. $5, yes, makes you a newsie. It gets you access to bonus episodes and also gets you access to a Discord that I have open. Make a little group thing. I'm trying to work on that. Also, being a newsie, you get a shout out on the episode once a month. And then also you can plug something you'd like. Either it's something you're doing or potentially a new thing you'd like me to cover. I can put a little spotlight on it. So yeah, that's an option. Also, I'm on all the socials, and I plugged my email for the podcast earlier. So yeah, check them all out if you'd like. And hopefully, I see you soon for some more good news. I love you guys. Bye bye. Mwah.